I always thought that sound was my superpower. I could hear what others missed. The slight drag of breath before a lie. The way someone's voice dropped a semitone when they were afraid. The artificial smoothness of a practiced apology. In the sound booth, I was a god. I created worlds from echoes, layered truth over silence, turned breath into meaning. But what I didn't hear or didn't want to was my own life unraveling in real time. It started on a Monday night. The studio had a power outage earlier that day, and we were rushing to restore lost files for a Netflix series set to launch in a week. I offered to take some of the corrupted audio home. Nothing major. Just syncing the backups with studio timestamps and cleaning out corrupted background noise. I brought home the drive, popped a whiskey, and sat in my dim little home office, listening to the hum of Los Angeles traffic outside the window. Rachel was in the shower. Our cat, Miles, lounged on the windowsill. Normal. Peaceful. I loaded the first batch of raw recordings. The usual mess. Breathing tests, mic bumps, voice warm-ups. I scrubbed through lazily, noting timestamps. Then something made me stop. A laugh. Rachel's laugh. Not her professional one. Not the one she uses for commercials and animated series. Her real one. The one she did when she was caught off guard. It bubbled, a little shaky, always followed by a sharp inhale through the nose. I leaned closer to my headphones. Then came a second voice. Male. Familiar. God, you always do that thing with your tongue after a line, he said. Rachel giggled. It's a habit. My body froze. The room around me, the whiskey, the noise outside, the cat, vanished into static. That voice belonged to Connor James. He'd been in our lives for years. Worked on at least 6 projects with Rachel. Funny, charismatic, married or divorced. I never cared enough to remember. I didn't like him, but I had no reason to suspect him of anything. I hit rewind. Played it again. Slower. Connor. God, you always do that thing with your tongue after a line. Rachel. It's a habit. Beat. Connor. Makes me lose focus. Rachel. Laughing softly. Well, then stop watching me. Connor. Impossible. Silence. Then the faintest sound. A shift of bodies. A mic brushing against fabric. A breath caught mid-thought. I stopped the recording. My hands were shaking. It could have been nothing. Banter. Studio people flirt. It's a weird bubble. You say things you wouldn't say anywhere else. And Rachel had always been magnetic. People orbited her like she was their personal sun. Still, I opened the folder. There were over 200 audio files, loosely labeled with dates and character names. I searched for other ones with Rachel and Connor. Found 11. 11 files with both their voices recorded during breaks or raw reads. I listened to every one. The second one was worse. Rachel, close the door. Connor, paranoid? Rachel, a little, then laughter. Connor, no one listens to these. Rachel, Ethan does. Connor, yeah, but he trusts you. Rachel, quietly, I know. I didn't realize I was crying until Miles jumped off the windowsill and rubbed against my leg, sensing the shift in energy. I should have stopped. I should have slammed the laptop shut, deleted the files, poured another whiskey, and pretended I never heard it. But I didn't. Instead, I started saving them. Every file, every timestamp, every whisper. I started a folder labeled reference, just in case. Over the next few days, I got to the studio early and stayed late. I became obsessed. I dug through archives, backups, even old ADR sessions from films we all worked on 3 years ago. I started to recognize patterns. The same breaks in speech, the same pauses before she said his name, the breathy way she answered his off-mic jokes. How long had it been going on? What was real? I stopped asking Rachel how her day was. I didn't want to hear her answer. One night, 2 weeks into the spiral, I found it, the final nail. A recording, mislabeled as room tone _ take 3.wave. Rachel, so we're still on for Friday? Connor, booth B, same time. Rachel, you better not bail again. Connor, never. Rachel, last time was risky. Connor, That's what makes it fun. My heart didn't break. It collapsed inward, quietly, like an old building losing its bones. I copied the file, dragged it to the folder, named it Anchor. Then I sat back, listening to the silence that followed, not just in the recording, but in my own house, in my head, in the place where Rachel used to live inside me. She walked in 10 minutes later, with hair wrapped in a towel, phone in hand. "Everything okay?" she asked, voice light, maybe a little suspicious. I nodded. "Long day," I said. My voice sounded fine. "Practiced." She kissed the top of my head. "Love you." I smiled. "You too." But my superpower was gone. I couldn't hear the truth anymore. Not from her. Not from me. Not in anything. Just static. When you work with audio long enough, you start to think in frequencies. You recognize people by the color of their voice. You catalog the hiss of cheap preamps, the hum of lights, the buzz of a refrigerator 3 rooms away. It all becomes a language, one I thought I was fluent in. The day after I found the Anchor file, I called in sick. I told the studio my throat was shot. Not a lie, technically. I hadn't spoken more than a few words in 2 days. Not to Rachel. Not to anyone. My voice sat heavy in my chest and used, like it no longer belonged to me. I stayed home and combed through the rest of the drive. Somewhere between files labeled dialogue_mix_final and bg_coffeeshop_XT2wave, I found a hidden folder. It was named in the old studio format, JUL 2023_temp. Nothing suspicious on the surface. But when I opened it, there were over 100 clips. No markers. No edits. No mixes. Just raw studio feed. Live booth recordings. I played the first one. Dead air. Then footsteps. A breath. The rustle of a script. Connor. "So you're going to tell him?" Rachel. After a pause. "Tell him what?" "That we make out in between 80 R takes." Connor. "That we're not just playing pretend." Click. I stopped it. Saved the file as 01_ revealed.wave. I don't know what made me do it, but I created a new folder on my desktop. Documentary. It started as a joke in my head. A dark, bitter joke. If they wanted to treat our life like a scene, I'd edit it like one. Cut by cut. Sound by sound. The truth, no longer hidden in waveforms, but shaped into something undeniable. By Friday, I had a 15-minute timeline on Premiere. It had music. It had voiceover. It had layers. Real studio footage layered over emotional betrayals. I didn't add any drama. I didn't need to. The facts were damning enough. Rachel noticed something was off. She caught me staring once, long and too quiet. She asked if I was working on something big. I said yes. She smiled. "I'm proud of you." Her voice cracked on the word proud. Just a little. Just enough to make me doubt everything all over again. That night, I followed her. She left around 7:40. Said she had a session at Studio C for a late pickup. I waited 15 minutes, then drove. Studio C was dark. Booth B wasn't. I parked in the back lot and walked around the alley. There's a ventilation shaft near the engineer's lounge that opens directly above Booth B, just wide enough for sound to travel if someone's quiet. I crouched down, pressed my ear to the wall, and listened. Rachel was laughing. "Connor, he's never going to figure out." Rachel, "He already has. He just doesn't want to believe it." Connor, "Then why are you still with him?" Rachel didn't answer. Instead, I heard the sound of the zipper. I stood up and left. My hands were cold. My vision tunneled. I got into the car and sat there for a long time, staring at the timeline on my phone. The edited project. The documentary. I renamed it. Echoes off script. I wasn't a husband anymore. I was an editor. And this time, the truth was mine to mix. I didn't sleep. I stared at the ceiling, while Rachel curled into me like nothing was wrong, like her world hadn't just divided itself between the booth and our bed. I stayed still, counting her breaths, memorizing the rhythm. My mind mixed sound that wasn't there. Fake laughter, stolen whispers, fabric rustling as she touched him. At 5:12 a.m., I slipped out of bed and went to the studio. The real one. Our office in Silver Lake. No one else would be there on a Saturday. I keyed in quietly, turned off the hallway lights, and went straight to Sound Bay 3. The editing suite. No windows, just soundproof walls and a God's view of waveforms. I opened the project. Echoes off script. 15 minutes was too long for the average listener. I trimmed it to 8, removed repetition, kept the structure tight. Intro, reveal, confrontation, silence. I even added Rachel's own ADR take from a noir indie she voiced last winter. Lies rot in silence. Poetic. Somewhere in the middle of editing, I got an email from Trevor, one of our mix engineers. Subject, need approval. He attached a bounce mix for a promo Rachel had voiced for a skincare brand. I didn't click it. I just stared at the file. Her voice again. Everywhere. The walls were full of her. And then I realized something worse than betrayal. I missed her, even knowing what I knew, even with the files saved and the guilt recorded. I still wanted to crawl back into bed and pretend we were okay. I hit play on the new cut. Rachel. He already knows. Connor. Then why are you still with him? Silence. Rachel. Quietly. Because he listens. I froze. That wasn't the live audio I'd heard. That was a different take. From a different day, I searched the archive again. Found it. File name. SDU_B2_20230714_raw.wave. They'd talked again. Same booth. Different week. Rachel. Because he listens. Connor. That's not love. That's guilt. Rachel. It's what's left. I sat back in the chair, lightheaded. Was that regret? I didn't know anymore. I exported the final mix. Labeled it. EOS_final_V1.mp4. And then I did something I never thought I'd do. I uploaded it to an anonymous Vimeo account. Password protected. Link copied. No title. No tags. No credits. Just the truth. Then I texted her. Check your email. Don't call me. I drove home slow. Rachel was still asleep. The light from her phone blinking with a new message. I didn't watch her open it. I didn't want to see her face. I just walked past, grabbed a duffel, and left. The air outside was loud. Sirens. Birds. A neighbor's lawnmower. For the first time in weeks, I heard it all, and none of it sounded like her. Mornings without her were strange. Not quieter, because Rachel was never loud, but thinner, like the air in the apartment had been filtered of something essential. The silence wasn't peaceful. It was sterile, soundproofed. I checked into a motel off Sunset. Cheap, anonymous, the kind of place where no one asked questions. I set up my laptop on the cracked laminate desk, plugged in my headphones, and hit play on the timeline for the 50th time. I had memorized every breath, every pause, but I kept listening. Not to Rachel, to myself, to the silence after her words. Each time, it hit differently. Sometimes, I wanted to forgive her. Sometimes, I wanted to disappear. Mostly, I just felt like I'd edited myself out of my own life. Cropped, faded, muted. By day 3, I got an email. No name. Just a reply to the Vimeo link. Subject, we need to talk. The message body was empty, but I knew who it was. I deleted it. By day 5, the link had been shared. Not by me. I had only sent it to Rachel. But it was online. Someone had screen recorded it and uploaded it to a voice acting subreddit. Then a minor podcasting blog picked it up. Then an indie filmmaker posted about it on X with a caption. This is more gripping than half the Netflix shows I've seen. The anonymity didn't last. People started to recognize voices. The comments were brutal. That's Rachel Keene, right? Is this some weird performance art or real? Holy shit, that engineer's voice. Was he recording the affair? By day 7, I got a call from Rachel's agent. Pull it down, he said. Now. It's not even under my name. I replied, it doesn't matter. She's losing work. Brands are pulling ads. You don't want to go to war over this. I didn't say anything, because he was right. I didn't want war. I wanted clarity. But maybe war was all I had left. That night, Rachel showed up at the motel. I opened the door and just stared at her. Her hair was tied back, her face bare. She looked tired, not from crying. From fighting a battle she knew she was losing. "You said not to call," she said quietly. "But you didn't say I couldn't come." I let her in. She sat on the edge of the bed like a stranger. Her eyes scanned the room. No photos, no clothes, just my laptop and the charging cable winding across the carpet. "I didn't send it to anyone," she said. "Not Connor, not anyone. But someone did." She nodded. "He found a file on my laptop. I guess I left it open." I closed my eyes. Of course. Connor. The final twist in a plot that didn't need one. "I didn't want it to end like this," she said. "What did you want?" "I wanted you to know, to understand that it wasn't just about him. It wasn't even about love. It was about feeling like I wasn't invisible, like someone saw me. You used to." "I still do," I said. And it was true. I saw every piece of her. Every lie, every flicker of doubt, every broken syllable she whispered in a booth, hoping it wouldn't make the final cut. "You edited me like a villain," she whispered. "No," I said. "I edited you like the truth." We sat in silence. Outside, a siren passed in the distance. The hum of traffic underlined everything. A sound bed of city sorrow. She stood slowly. "I'll tell them it was me," she said. "That I leaked it. Maybe it'll protect you." "It won't. They'll figure it out. People know my style." Rachel gave me a half smile. "Well, at least they'll finally recognize your work." She walked to the door and paused. "I loved you, Matt. I just didn't know how to stay." I didn't answer. I closed the door after her and sat in front of the screen again. I opened a new timeline. Blank. Waiting. And I started to record a voiceover. This isn't about revenge. It's about clarity. This is what happens when stories leak from the screen into real life, when fidelity becomes fiction, and fiction becomes proof. The mic crackled softly. "My name is Matt Lawson. I'm a sound designer, and this is the last cut I'll ever make of us. I never intended for the project to go viral, but I should have known better. The internet doesn't care about intentions. It thrives on paying dress as art." Within 2 weeks, the leaked audio had over 4 million listens. Someone added subtitles and made it into a TikTok series, breaking it into cinematic snippets. Every word Rachel and Connor said was now part of a digital soap opera. Users were arguing in comments about who the real villain was. Some thought I was a genius. Others thought I was a manipulative psycho. People started calling it the booth tapes. I got emails from talent agencies, podcast studios, even Netflix. They wanted to buy the rights. To my pain, to Rachel's betrayal, to us. I ignored them at first. Then I got an email that stopped me cold. Subject: "Your story saved my life. I just want to say thank you. I was in something like this. Listening to your audio made me realize how blind I've been." I left him. "I'm scared, but I'm free." The message wasn't signed. No name. No reply address. But it did something. It made me wonder, maybe this wasn't just a revenge tape. Maybe it was a signal. A flare for someone else stuck in silence. I met with a small team of producers who pitched a docu-series idea. They didn't want to dramatize it. They wanted to use it as a springboard to talk about sound, relationships, trust, and truth in the digital age. And somehow it felt honest. I said yes. Rachel declined to participate. Connor tried to sue. He lost. It turned out he had sent the file to his own email before I uploaded anything. He'd tried to frame it, to control the narrative. Ironically, he left metadata all over it. It was almost poetic. The man who cheated behind soundproof glass got exposed by data hidden in silence. The project launched under the name Echoes Offscript, same as the file name I'd saved it under. I didn't narrate it. I didn't need to. My voice was already in every waveform. The night the pilot premiered, I watched alone, not out of regret, not out of loneliness, but out of quiet reverence. For once, I didn't rewind the timeline. I let it play. I didn't pause when Rachel's voice came through the speakers. Didn't flinch when the silence stretched after my own questions. I just listened, like the audience. The final shot faded in slowly. An empty recording booth, mic still on, red light blinking. A title card appeared. The truth doesn't always scream. Sometimes it whispers. You just have to know where to listen. Then black. Silence. But this time it felt full. I didn't know what would come next. But I knew one thing. I wasn't invisible anymore. The fame wasn't fame, not in the way people imagined it. It was ambient. Everywhere and nowhere. One moment I was nobody, a sound guy in the back room of someone else's dream. The next, I was a man who caught infidelity in stereo. The man who turned heartbreak into art, into narrative. But after the buzz came the drift. The producers moved on. The Doka series ran its 6 episodes and bowed out with a cold, respectful silence. I did interviews. I smiled at podcast hosts and nodded at film students who quoted me back to myself. And then the lights turned elsewhere. I went back to freelance sound design. For a while, clients booked me just to say they worked with the guy. Some asked if I'd hidden microphones on them too. I didn't laugh. I moved into a new apartment downtown. High ceilings. Quiet neighbors. The kind of place where nothing echoed unless you wanted it to. And then one night, I got a package. No return address. Just a padded envelope. My name handwritten across the front. Inside, a cassette tape. I stared at it like it had come from another universe. Who even used tapes anymore? But I had a deck. Of course I did. I plugged it into my setup, cleaned the heads, and pressed play. Static. A long hiss. Then, her voice. Rachel. Hey, if you're listening to this, it means I finally did what I should have done a long time ago. Told the truth on my terms. The tape clicked as she paused the recording and restarted. Her voice was raw, unedited. I was afraid, not of being caught, of being known, of you hearing me for who I really was. Because that version didn't deserve your loyalty, or your silence. I leaned back, letting the hiss wash over me between each cut. You weren't invisible. You were just better than me. Quieter, sure, but clearer. I wanted noise, drama, echoes, and I ended up hollow. The tape rolled on. 23 minutes of her thoughts, memories, confessions, no apologies, exactly, just honesty. At the end, her voice wavered. I don't expect you to forgive me, but I wanted you to hear me once. Not through a mic, not through a cut, just like this. Just me. Click. Silence. I sat there for a long time. I didn't cry. I didn't record a response. I didn't analyze the EQ or master the sound. I let it be imperfect, raw. I filed the tape in a drawer. Not labeled, not archived, just kept. For once, I didn't need to remix the truth. I'd already heard it, exactly as it was. The morning after filing the cassette broke with muted dawn, the Los Angeles air thick with a hum of distant traffic and a faint scent of smog seeping through my open window, the curtains still against the stillness. I, Matt Lawson, sat at my new desk. The wood cool under my hands. The tape drawer a silent weight. The journal I'd started a blank page beside me. Rachel's voice, raw, unfiltered, echoed in my mind, a fraction of silence I'd built, and I felt a mix of peace and unease, the neon lights outside casting a faint glow, the city a witness to my unraveling. I sipped black coffee, its bitter edge a ritual that grounded me, and wrote, the pen scratched a hesitant pulse, step by step, toward frequencies I'd need to tune. That afternoon, I returned to my freelance setup, the air in my apartment buzzing with the hum of equipment and the sharp click of my editing software, the wooden floor creaking as I adjusted my chair. I opened old projects, her voice lurking the waveforms, and felt a pang, the desk a battlefield of memories. Aline, a fellow sound editor, called, her voice a lifeline, and we talked about work, my break, the tape, her steady tone of comfort. I edited a client's podcast, the mix of distraction, the journal filling with notes, step by step, toward a fracture-eyed mend with sound. The next day, I walked the city, the air crisp with the scent of street food and the roar of buses, the pavement a rhythm under my feet. I passed the old studio, its neon sign dark, and felt no sting, the desk a mental refuge. Aline texted lunch, and I agreed, the journal a witness to my cautious steps, step by step, toward frequencies of a new start. That evening, I met Aline at a cafe. The air warm with the aroma of espresso and the soft clink of cups, the wooden table a shared space. We ate, her laughter a balm, and talked about her projects, my healing, the industry's buzz, her presence a light. The neon lights glowed outside, a promise of connection, and I wrote in the journal, the pen scratch a release, step by step, toward a fracture turning to strength. The next morning, I recorded ambient sounds, the air filled with the city's pulse, sirens, birds, footsteps, the desk a studio of my own. Aline joined me, her camera partner, and I felt alive, the journal filling with dreams, art, friendship, a life rebuilt, step by step, toward frequencies of my own making. The morning after recording with Aline dawned with a gentle light, the city air carrying the faint scent of rain and the hum of traffic through my window, the curtains swaying softly. Matt, sat at my desk, the wood warm under my palms, the tape drawer a quiet presence, the journal open beside me a growing record of my shift, her confession replayed, her fear, her hollow echoes, and I felt a layer of liberation peeling away the past, the neon lights outside casting a soft shimmer, the city a mirror to my release. I sipped coffee, the bitter warmth a ritual that steadied my breath, and wrote, the pen scratch a steady beat, step by step, toward layers I'd uncover. That afternoon, I edited a new project, the air in my apartment thick with the hum of my rig and the faint crackle of audio files, the wooden floor creaking as I paced. I layered city sounds, sirens, laughter, over a client's narration, each adjustment a step from her shadow, the desk a sanctuary. Aline visited, her voice a guide, and we refined the mix, her wit a light, the neon glow seeping through. The evening stretched, the city lights a backdrop, and I wrote in the journal, the pen scratch a release, step by step, toward liberation through sound. The next day, I explored a new studio, the air alive with the scent of fresh paint and the buzz of equipment, the wooden walls a blank slate. I recorded experimental tracks, wind, whispers, feeling free, the desk a memory of strength. Aline joined, her laughter a spark, and we brainstormed, the journal filling with ideas, step by step, toward layers of new identity. That evening, we dined at her place, the air warm with the scent of spices and the soft hum of her radio, the wooden table a haven. We talked about our work, my growth, her support, her smile of comfort, the neon lights twinkling outside. I captured the moment on my phone, the shudder of victory, the journal a witness, step by step toward liberation shared. The next morning, I jogged, the air crisp with dawn, the city a rhythm a let go, the pavement steady under me. I passed a motel, felt no ache, the desk a fortress, the neon glow a beacon. Aline texted, proud of you, and I smiled, the journal filling with dreams, art connection a life my own, step by step toward layers of liberation. The morning after our dinner broke with a golden peace, the city air alive with the scent of blooming jasmine and the gentle hum of traffic through my window, the curtains fluttering softly. Matt, sat at my desk, the wood smooth under my hands, the tape drawer a quiet relic, the journal open beside me a testament to my healing. Aline's smile lingered, a harmony in my days, and I felt a deep calm, the neon lights outside casting a warm glow, the city a witness to my mending. I sipped coffee, the bitter warmth a ritual that steadied my soul, and wrote, the pen scratch a gentle rhythm, step by step, toward a harmony I'd embrace. That afternoon, we recorded a podcast, the air in the studio thick with the scent of coffee and the soft hum of mics, the wooden floor a stage for our voices. I layered sounds, city pulse or laugh, creating a seamless mix, the desk a shared triumph. Aline's input sharpened the piece, her wit a light, and I felt our harmony grow, the neon glow seeping through. The evening stretched, the city lights a backdrop, and I wrote in a journal, the pen scratch a release, step by step, toward healing through collaboration. The next day, I visited the old studio, the air heavy with the scent of dust and the faint buzz of equipment, the wooden door creaking as I entered. I stood in booth B, its silence a memory, and felt no pain, the desk a refuge of growth. Aline met me, her camera capturing the space, and we talked, the journal filling with peace, step by step, toward a harmony with my past. That evening, we watched the sunset, the air crisp with the scent of dusk, the wooden bench creaking under us on her balcony. We talked about the podcast, our bond, the future, her hand in mine a comfort, the neon lights fading. I wrote in the journal, the pen's scratch of victory, step by step, toward a healing harmony. The next morning, I jogged, the air fresh with dawn, the city of rhythm a let go, the pavement firm under me. I passed a motel with a smile, the desk a fortress, the neon glow a beacon. Aline joined, her presence a joy, the journal filling with dreams, love, art, a life whole, step by step, toward a harmony of healing. The morning after our sunset watch broke with radiant calm, the city air alive with the sweet scent of morning flowers and the gentle hum of traffic through my window, the curtains dancing softly. I, Matt, sat at my desk, the wood warm under my palms, the tape drawer a distant memory, the journal open beside me a chronicle of my renewal. Aline's touch lingered, a symphony in my life, and I felt profound peace, the neon lights outside casting a gentle glow, the city a witness to my rebirth. I sipped coffee, the bitter warmed a ritual that steadied my heart, and wrote, the pen scratch a steady beat, step by step, toward a symphony I conduct. That afternoon, we launched our podcast series. The studio air buzzed with the scent of fresh edits and the soft clap of an audience. The wooden floor a stage for our voices. I mixed live sound, laughter, applause, each layer a triumph, the desk a shared victory. Aline hosted, her wit a light, and I felt our symphony soar, the neon lights filtering through. The evening stretched, the city lights a backdrop, and I wrote in the journal, the pen scratch a release, step by step, toward renewal through sound. The next day, I received a call from Connor, the air in my apartment shifting with the scent of tension and the hum of silence, the wooden chair cold under me. He apologized, regret, not excuse, and I listened, the desk a shield. I hung up, feeling closure, the neon lights a distant echo, and wrote, the journal witness, step by step, toward a symphony free of him. That evening, Aline and I planned our future, the air warm with the scent of wine, and the soft hum of her laughter, the wooden table a haven. We dreamed travel, projects, a life together, her kiss a seal, the neon lights twinkling. I capture us on camera, the shudder of victory, the journal filling with love, step by step, toward a renewal shared. The next morning, I jogged, the air crisp with dawn, the city a rhythm a let go, the pavement steady under me. I passed the old studio with peace, the desk a fortress, the neon glow a beacon. Aline joined, her hand in mine, the journal filling with a life my own, art, love, wholeness, step by step, toward a symphony of renewal,